Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I come ready and primed with my Dede Signature Locked in base in the shade Sandy Seal to show you the newest release from Simply Posh Cosmetics. This is the palette. It's called Lavender Fields, and it's this beautiful spring palette that was released by the brand. And I have it here today, and I want to create a look with you. So this is my first look with the palette. And as you can tell by my background, we're going for the greens. I'm gonna start with these shades right over here. I'm going to use this green shade here, and then I'm going to use this kind of lime green color. It's called Pasture. Top it off a little of this yellow shade. I believe it's called Soothing. And we're gonna darken the lower part of the outer V with this darker green color, kind of a mid-tone mossy green called Fields, which makes sense. And then my shimmers are going to be Harvest, which is this beautiful shade here, which has kind of like an orange and green flip to it. And of course, this green shimmer here that looks kind of green and blue is what I see in there. And that's the shade Scenic. So we're gonna play with those today. And little swatches for you of both of the shimmer shades, and just look at those shifts. Oh, those are so pretty. So that's what we're gonna do. So I hope you all are doing well today. I'm gonna start off with the Sonia G brush right here. I'm going to use that and get into that shade, that green shade Pasture. And we're going to put that right here in the crease. And we're just using windshield wiper motions to put this on. And I am enjoying how this is going on. I'm using a lighter base just to make sure that these shades will show up on my skin tone. And they're going on very nicely with this brush. And I'm just kind of layering it here till I get the pigmentation I want. Perfect. And I'm very excited to get this palette. Simply Posh was sweet enough to send this to me in PR, so thank you so much. And I'm really enjoying it. The weather's starting to warm up a little bit. I don't know, I'm in Virginia, so I don't know how it is where you are, but temperature actually got up to in the 80s today, which from the ice story I told y'all in some of my other videos is definitely an improvement. So again, windshield wiper motions, putting this color all throughout the crease. Okay, good. I like that. So now we're going to use this Singe Beauty EO6 brush, and I'm going to dab into the shade Soothing. So it's a very nice yellow pastel shade, and it picked up very nice on the brush. And we're just going to put this under the brow and kind of blend into that first shade that I put down. Kind of ease them together because I want it to look like that the color is flowing into the other one. I want the color Pasture to flow into Soothing. So it's kind of like that, kind of give it a nice highlight under the brow. And then obviously we'll do this over here on the other side. And I really love how that's laying on. On the lighter base, this is going on well. And I could definitely, if I pack it on, I can bring out more of that yellow shade. So I'm just kind of packing the color on just under the brow here. Going back over here. Do the same thing over on this side. Great. So I want to bring together Pasture and Soothing. So I kind of using swirly motions to kind of meld the color into each other. And then what I'll do next is go back in with Soothing and just try to bring back the pigmentation. Put a little bit more product on the brush because I'm trying to get that yellow to be a little bit more pronounced. And that's working well, so it's good. And there is a little fallout in the pan, just to let you know. So that's why I'm tapping off my brush in between adding more product, just to try to minimize how much fallout I'm getting. Again, kind of swirling at the edge there. Did not add any additional product. So just trying to mesh the two together until I get it the way I like it. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So now for the darker color, I'm going to use this Ross and Ben brush. I'm not sure what the number is, but this is from Ross and Ben, and I really enjoy their brushes. And I'm going to go into the shade. I'm going to go into this shade right here, Fields. So I put this one in the crease. That was Pasture. And then right under the brow, we have this yellow shade, Soothing. So now we're going into Fields. Look, that mossy green I was talking about earlier. And we're just gonna put this on the outer V a little bit. And that's to add a little bit of depth to the outer corner. So I'm just taking this through the crease, trying to blend that together. So you can kind of see the deepening there between that and that first green shade. And I'm going back in with that Sonia G brush, not extra product, just trying to mesh together some of the Pasture shade with the moss shade. The Pasture shade with the Fields shade, which is that darker moss color. Moss looking green. All right, and then we're putting that over on this side. Working it in the crease, kind of packing this in the outer V because I really want that contrast to come, so you can add a little bit of depth. Again, using windshield wiper motions, packing here, swirling a little bit until I get the depth that I want. So you can see that there. And then going back in with that brush that I used with that Pasture shade, put a little bit more on there. And just trying to meld the two. I wanted to kind of melt into each other, but I don't want to lose that Pasture shade. So I'm going back in and putting a little bit more of that back on. Which, nothing wrong. You can always go back and add more. Trying to deepen it there. And then again, add a little bit more of the Field shade. Just trying to build up that outer V area here. There you go. I like it. So now for the shimmers, obviously we're using Harvest and Scenic. They're very smooth. So I'm going to put on a little of my Cleona Cosmetics Shine On between Cleona Cosmetics and Bad to the Brow. My favorite glitter primer at this particular moment. And we're just putting that all over the lid. It acts as a really nice base. Now this shimmer formula is pretty smooth. It's not chunky at all. So I don't think fallout is going to be a big problem with this one. But having the Shine On does help longevity. And so here you can see the shimmers. They're really pretty. So I'm going to put this one, and that is Scenic. And we're going to put that on the outer aspect of my lid here. Kind of fading it into the Fields shade. And you really can see the green and gold flecks in it. It's really pretty. And then on the inner half, I'm putting the Harvest shade. And like I said, it has green, but you see some red, orange. I even see some blue shifts in there. And I'm kind of melting it into that Scenic shade. And I like to use my fingers because I think it makes the shadows pop a little bit more. So that's my favorite thing to do. I will smooth it out. I have a Refer 02 brush, and I'm going to use that to kind of smooth out these shimmers. I'll add a little bit more on as well, so I get the opacity that I like. And I'm using both sides of the same brush, so I put one shimmer on one side and then the other one. And then I'm kind of having them meet here in the middle, just to kind of mesh that together. And then I'll take that Ross and Ben brush, no additional product, and just try to buff in this Fields shade a little bit. And a little bit in the crease to try to clean that up just a tad. Maybe add a little bit more product. That's good. All right. There we go. Now on the other side, get Scenic and Harvest. Scenic and Harvest again. And we're just putting that. Now it's a little bit flaky. I picked up a little bit much, so it's flaking a little bit, but still going on very smoothly. And now I'm putting on Harvest on the inner half. Just kind of patting that in. Pick up a little bit more. Very nice. Very nice. Now again, going into my BK Beauty. This is Nicola Rose, the N24 brush. That's what I'm using to kind of smooth out the shimmers. So a little bit of that Scenic shade, which is this pretty color here. And I'm adding a little bit and smoothing it out here on the edges. Then other side of the brush, getting the Harvest shade, going back in with that and smoothing that out here, just going along the crease line like so. Again, a little bit more of that darker shade Fields, and we'll put that in the outer V, a little bit in the crease to clean things up, touch things up on the other side. So I think I'm liking that. It's a good blend. All right. No additional product. Just going in with that brush that I was using before. Again, to kind of mesh these colors together. I want to see the contrast, the deepening going down to the lash line, but I still want to make sure I leave those colors as distinct as possible. So a little bit more of Pasture on here. Just trying to make sure I don't lose that color. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to put on some liner and lashes, finish up the lower lash line, and I'll come back and show you the final look.
We are going to take a break in our regularly scheduled program for swatches. So first, we're starting with the shade Soothing. Next, I'm going to swatch Pasture. Next, I'm swatching Blossom. After that, we're swatching Fragrant. Next, Lavender. Then Therapeutic. Now the shimmers, we're going to swatch Harvest, Scenic, Graceful. And Sweet Aroma. Now we're going to swatch Serenity. And the last shimmer, Exquisite. Those are so pretty. Now for the last row of mattes, we're going to swatch Landscape, which is almost my skin tone, followed by Fields, then Acres, then Essence, then Picturesque, and Relaxation. And 2 swatches of that one. And so here are the swatches for the entire palette.
So I'm back. This is the finished look. I really like it. I think it came out really pretty. For my inner corner, I used some of the yellow Soothing shade. On the lower lash line, I kind of mimic the upper, and I have some of Pasture going into Fields. For my lips, I use the Kaleidos lip liner in the color Double Espresso. My lipstick is a custom one that I made at the Lip Lab when I went to Austin, Texas with one of my makeup friends. It's Pumpkin Princess is what I named it. And it's this really pretty orange color. And on top of that, I have a custom lip gloss that I made. And it was also at the Lip Lab. And I named her Autumn Spice. And she's a pretty orange with some gold sparkles in it. I really like her. She smells good. I picked a vanilla scent, I believe, because that's what they had. But I actually love it a lot. So that's what's on my lips. On the rest of my face details, I have the Prada foundation I'm trying to use up before it expires in April. For my powder, I use the Hourglass powder in the shade Deep. Under eye, my Pride and Joy, the Pat McGrath under eye powder in the shade Deep, and you can tell she is very well loved. For my concealers, as usual, I trio of friends. Number 15, 12, and 9 from the Yummy Skin line from Danessa Myricks. My blush is from the Masterclass in Jordy Liberty. It's the orange shade in the color Calvera. Love that. For underpainting, I forgot to mention I use the Curve Case. I love this for my underpainting, so I use the 2 deepest shades here for my contour, and then I use the orange shade underneath to kind of act as a nice base underneath my foundation. So what do I feel about Lavender Fields? It's a really nice palette. You have a top row of lighter mattes. And then, of course, as is signature, it seems for Simply Posh, you have the row of shimmers. And then we have the mid-tone row of similar shades. It is really pretty. I like the formula. There is some kick up in the pan with the mattes, so if that bothers you, just something to be aware of. The shimmers are very smooth. I really like them all. They're all very smooth on the finger. They look nice there, very pigmented. This blue shade. And of course, the other shade that I used there. In comparison to a lot of the other Simply Posh formulas, I think this one is very similar to the gingerbread one that they released for Christmas. I really am enjoying it. I will say, the way I like to do my makeup, I like to have a darker outer V, something to kind of, deepen up with. And since this is a row of mostly mid-tone and then lighter shades, there's not a lot of deepening up shades. But if you're looking for a kind of lighter spring look, then obviously this palette will give it to you. And you have, you know, the greens here, you have the pinky purples and some of the purpley blues. So you have a lot of options of the looks that you can make, and obviously can go anywhere from green to pink to blue to purple, whatever suits your fancy. So this palette is going on pre-sale on March 14th at 3 p.m. CST. You can use my code Kimberly to save 10%. It is affiliated, so if you do, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to continue to make other looks with this palette. I will say I'm really excited because when I saw the cover, I said, oh, it's going to be a monochromatic palette, but it is not. So clearly, while you definitely have your purples and lavenders, you obviously have the greens like I did in my look today, and you have some of the purples and some teals. And I'm looking forward to getting into other parts of this palette. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you're considering picking it up. Let me know if you have other Simply Posh cosmetic palettes and which one is your favorite out of those. So till next time, remember, live your best life. This is not a dress rehearsal. You're on stage, so make it the best performance ever. Bye, guys.